all of the elements that you need right there to generate many new businesses. But who are the people that do well in Silicon Valley? Remember, one of my previous jobs is I helped IBM start a venture capital group in Silicon Valley during the bubble. So I was meeting with these VC firms all the time. And what they said is, we need these people who understand technology, who understand business, and who understand how to do real world networks to create this value. Again, they're not using service science, but we, now in service science, we have a vocabulary for talking about T-shaped people. Now here's a fascinating, now is service science a science? Where's the empirical studies? So, Kathleen Carley at Carnegie Mellon University. She heard about this, these various things, and she said, I'm going to have one of my graduate students do a computational organizational simulation of whether it's better to have all I-shaped people, specialists, or all generalists. She couldn't quite figure out how to do T, so she took the top off of the T. So generalists and specialists. Guess what she found out running the empirical studies? Hundreds of thousands of simulations. What did she find out? It's obvious once you know. She found out if the context, if the environment is not changing, you know, if people just want so many cars every year, so many bottles of water, so much, just fixed, stable environment, I-shaped, everybody I-shaped. So you think about the hundreds of years where the economy is changing really slowly, you want I-shaped people, specialists. If the environment starts changing really fast, you've got to increase the number of generalists to increase the productive capacity of the organization. Why? Because when the demand is shifting, if you've optimized for yesterday's demand, you're not ready, you're not agile to go to the future. But if you start sprinkling in the generalists in a higher percentage as the world changes faster, you get more agility. So basically, what her, you know, she's still trying to figure out how to do T-shapes and I-shapes and H-shapes, that's too complex. But basically the finding is, as the world goes faster, you basically need more T-shapes. You need more people who can adapt and shift quickly. So these T-shaped people, because they can communicate across all the different disciplines, if they have to shift, they're better prepared to shift than somebody who just knows a single discipline. So to me, that's culture. That's culture. Because you could produce the best I-shaped people in a culture, and if you had a very fixed economy, it didn't change very much, things would be great. You'd have the best efficiency, higher productivity than any other nation, but you'd be stuck in time. You wouldn't be adapting with the others. So I really believe there is a culture shift. Where did mass education come from in the United States? It came from the design, and this is in, by the way, Herb Simon's Science of the Artificial. If you read that, there's one chapter on the design of the US. And there's a thing called the Federalist Papers. And the founding fathers of the US were deciding how to design the United States with checks and balances and all of this stuff. And they said, if we don't have a literate population that knows how to read and write, every citizen, they will not be smart enough to run a democracy that sustains for a long time. So our founding fathers knew that you had to have a culture where it was commonplace that everybody could read and write. Now there were a lot of reasons why they were able to get it through, like people wanted people to be able to read the Bible for values, but nevertheless, it was that foundation of the kind of people that you need to have a society that allowed them to create a culture that became the United States. So here we are in a world of globally interconnected systems where Even the best bankers in the world didn't predict the financial meltdown. In fact, they got us into it, the smartest people. And you have to start asking this question, do we have the people, the culture, and the knowledge and the skills to successfully exist in the world as it is today? And Kathleen Carley's simulation, you know, an analogy with reading and writing, where the scribes, tells at least a lot of us at IBM, when we want to hire somebody, we want them to be T-shaped. Nick D'Onofrio, I'll stop here. Nick D'Onofrio, very famous IBMer. Probably you know him. He's wonderful. I don't know how many times he's been to Italy, but he loves coming to Italy.
He's Italian.
He's Italian. What can I say? He's the most wonderful IBMer I know. He retired recently. But I think I get more emails from him now that he's retired than I did when he was at IBM. Because he loves T-shaped people. And he went to the Kauffman Foundation, which is the foundation of entrepreneurship in the US, and just 2 days ago, he wrote a big paper on collaborative innovation that's on the Kauffman Foundation website right now. And it says, if we don't start creating T-shaped people, we're going to be in big trouble because the systems are getting too complex. Entrepreneurship and job creation is more important, and we don't have the right kind of people. We need these T-shaped people. So I'll stop there, but I just, as you can tell, the culture and the kind of people you have determine the complexity of the civilization that you can have. I really truly believe that. And that's why maybe I sound a little overly passionate about this, but it's really important. It's the kind of person we want to hire at IBM. Yes, Ramesh? Oh, sorry. Ramesh? Please.
So you talk about economics and service science. Economics is a good job of modifying risk and money in some sense.
Yeah, they did do a very good job, even though,
In service science,
in spite of the problem, I think it's brilliant what they've done.
I think service science, we have to really define properly the value, notion of value and risk.
Yes, we have it. Absolutely right.
So, and we have 3 words for it.
It's to be done.
To be done.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think the biggest risk in a service system is the unknown unknown. So what you know, you don't know. You can kind of quantify that, but when the world's coming at you faster and faster, it's the unknown unknown that may really hit you. And how do you define risk? In that sense, there's a book by John Adams called Risk. It's not the president, John Adams. It's a member of the UK Royal Society. His name is John Adams, and he wrote a book on risk. And the picture on the cover is, it's all black except for risk, and there's one little white pixel, just one little white dot. And his point is, that white dot is all of the compounds that we've tested as to whether they cause cancer. The rest of the area of the book is all of the compounds that exist now that we haven't tested as to whether they cause cancer. He says it's more likely that cancer being caused is in the unknown, well, that's actually the known unknown. Those just have to be tested. He said it's more likely that the unknown unknown, all the compounds that we haven't even found yet, is much bigger than that. So I think when, just like we don't want to define service science as just money, although money is important, we don't want to define risk in service science prematurely to be this simple thing to measure when it's the bigger risk that is what will dominate in the future. So yeah, I don't know anybody that's done good work except for John Adams in risk.
Thank you, John. We concluded with the last question.
Okay. I don't know is this question or an observation, but I need your confirmation or not at the end. Okay, first of all, my name is Jim, as this is just a consonant. And okay, I have read some papers yours of Lars Vargo, Wessels, and Maglio. and I